Hi, I'm Ray Oddname. Don't worry, that's not my real name, it's way worse. And I'm here to talk about the upcoming It movie. What we know, what we don't know, what we have seen so far, and what everyone is bitching about apparently. I have to say, this is the first commentary video analysis I've ever made, so bear with my awful accent because I'm from Italy, I'm sorry. And you'll enjoy this ride, or at least I hope so. If not, falls entirely on me, and I promise I will disappear like Dorsey Corcoran. That's right, I'm gonna make a lot of references. No, I'm not, I'm just kidding. First of all, can we please all agree that this It movie is not a remake, nor a reboot, or a copy? It's the first movie adaptation of Stephen King's novel. I'm getting so tired of all the people referring to the 1990 Tommy Lee Wallace TV movie as the original. The original is the book. And FYI, when I saw the miniseries, I actually hadn't read the book and I hated the miniseries, and I'll tell you why later on. So I read the book a lot of times and I loved it. So I'm a Stephen King fan, alright, but I'm not that biased. I know he can fuck up. I know a lot of the movie renditions of his books are quite bad. I agree some of his recurring themes are, well, a little bit too recurring. And especially I won't be that guy telling the filmmaker should put every scene as it is in the book, because sometimes King can be weird. I'll just say not everything he writes to scare or disgust or surprise his constant readers works well on film. And it is filled with stuff like that. Creepy moving fortune cookies, giant birds. I mean, we can all agree they're very disturbing on paper, but they're difficult to translate on film unless there's a good director and a good cast and crew making this happen. Correct? So, can I please say another thing just before I start? People saying this movie is a Stranger Things ripoff. Let's cut this bullshit, please. I liked Stranger Things a lot. But let's face it, if you take out all of the Stephen King's and all of the 80s Steven Spielberg-like references, there's not that much left. The Duffer Brothers actually wanted to direct the It adaptation, but got rejected. So they ended up making Stranger Things instead and filling it with basically anything King related. And let's stop saying the studio greenlit the It movie because of the success Stranger Things had. Stranger Things was released in July, the same month in which they were shooting it. So unless the Warner New Line executives found a wormhole after Stranger Things went successful and went back in time to start pre-production on it, I think what you're saying is basically nonsense. Plus, all the idea of making the whole storyline set in the 80s dates back to 2010, when they made the first draft of the screenplay. Sorry to break your bubble, but the whole 80s nostalgia trend came way before Stranger Things. We've seen it in movies, retro wave, music, aesthetic, all that kind of stuff. So alright, that said, what do we know about this It movie? I'll keep this short. We know it's been on development hell since 2009. Screenwriting duties given to Dave Kajganich. I'm sorry Dave, I don't know how your surname is spelled. Then to Fukunaga and Palmer. Then Fukunaga dropped, saying the studio wouldn't make him do the movie he wanted. Muschietti stepped in. Doberman helped rewrite the latest Fukunaga script. They kept us updated on casting and filming, started post-production last fall, and now here we are, waiting for the movie to drop this September. Yeah, I know, I make a lot of gestures, I'm Italian, you know. Let me start all this by saying how happy I am they chose to promote this movie by giving us just a little bit of stuff. Maybe it's because of this small budget, but to me the fact that in 2017 a big studio released a 2.5 minutes teaser trailer for it without spoiling Pennywise too much is kind of a miracle. Now, I think we can expect a full trailer later on, maybe some short spots to keep the social pages updated. So we can only hope they'll keep this sort of mystery around Pennywise. Yeah, maybe they're gonna make him or her speak, maybe tell the infamous line, "Don't you want a balloon?" or stuff like that. But the fact that the director kept Skarsgård, a young actor portraying Pennywise, hidden from the cast until they had to shoot their scenes together gives me a little hope that this strategy of building a sort of sense of dread and anticipation is what they'll be going for, but I might be wrong. Do during production they showed the close-up of the clown. That kind of disappointed me at first, not because I didn't like its outfit. I actually found its aged look to be really creepy and off-putting, but because I didn't want to see it that clearly, But after seeing him in the trailer, I realized that those are just promotional images for magazines. Watching Pennywise act and speak in flesh will definitely be another thing. Now I'm gonna say something which I'll surely be attacked for. I must ask you not to be rude to me for this. It's just my opinion. Won't delete any comments though, as long as they aren't spam about penis enlargement. Anyone interested in big cocks should pursue his or her love for big winged animals inside the smokestack at Kitchener Ironworks. That said, talking about Skarsgård Pennywise, I seriously cannot stand reading the same comments every day. Something about a movie pops up online and almost everyone says it should be the opposite way. I've even seen a picture portraying all the cast losers with the Bowers gang all together smiling into the camera, and someone had the guts to write in the comments,
"They should not be friends. They should be kept separated. Oh my god, I hope they're doing the right thing with this movie."
What the fuck? It's a picture of people who worked together for months. This is nuts. And don't get me started on all the Skarsgård versus Tim Curry issue.
Anyway, it should not be creepy. It should be fun to lure kids. Nobody will ever replace Tim Curry. Oh my god.
Seriously, I've seen complaints like this all the time, so I feel the need to say it. Okay, Tim Curry is a fine actor, but this is not Pennywise. There is one refrigerator I want to hear people talking about in an It movie, and it's not the one Tim Curry jokes about. This comical jester making cringe-worthy jokes is not what Pennywise should be, and anyone who have read the novel can tell you that. Anyone in his right mind, that is. If you've loved the novel, you can at least be objective and agree that the miniseries is really dated. I mean, the first part with the kids, I guess it's alright, but the adults, man, I don't know why I hated them all. I'm sure it's just the casting's fault, because the book has some great parts, but I've actually grown to kind of hate the adult timeline because of how it was made into the miniseries. So I really hope they do the casting right for part 2, but apart from that, my main issue with that miniseries was Tim Curry's portrayal of Pennywise in the novel, and I've already talked about how difficult it is to translate Stephen King's work into film. It is both creepy and seducing, disturbing and childish, but it's never fun. It keeps mocking children in the worst way possible. It likes to scare them. Georgie himself at the beginning of the book gets scared, seeing its yellow eyes in the darkness. Then Pennywise tries to get him close using the boat Bill made as bait, as leverage, but there's always something disturbing in it. Pennywise is never cute looking. Behind the smell of cotton candy, there's the smell of the sewers. The smell of the creature with yellow eyes Georgie is scared about when he has to go in the basement. And guys, it's a frigging clown. I've seen people commenting,
"It should be like Ronald McDonald or Bozo or Clarabelle."
Have you seen those guys? Those are the creepiest things imaginable. No one would ever get close to them. Clowns are always like that, off-putting. They're supposed to be fun, but they look weird. This is not meant to offend real clowns, but everyone can agree to that, because I think there are people hiding behind makeup, behind a mask. It's like a disguise. Masks can be fun, sure, but the basic concept of a mask is that you can tell who's behind it. This is basically what the main character of 11/22/63 has been told in a novel by a bartender in Derry, speaking about all the dead children and all the rumors the clown is involved. Plus, we never saw this new Pennywise acting in the movie. We don't know what it will be like. We have no clue about what his voice will sound like. So how can anyone say anything about it? Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there will be a nicer version of Pennywise in the movie as well. But would you promote a horror flick posting online a picture of a non-creepy Pennywise? The answer is no. And if they did, someone would have had something to say.
"It should not be cute. They're ruining the original. Tim Curry is the real Pennywise. I got so scared by the movie when I was a kid."
That's right. You see, the key word here is when I was a kid. Actually, it's 5 words, but you get the idea. I suggest you rewatch the damn thing now. Apart from the fact that everyone complains Skarsgård is too creepy, claim that Tim Curry was creepy and scared them shitless. So, what the fuck? But try and watch the miniseries now, or make it watch to a kid now, and the only unsettling thing you or he will see is probably just Tim Curry, because it's a fucking creepy clown. Here's the thing. In my opinion, Curry wasn't a good Pennywise. He just made jokes, kept teasing the kids without doing anything. He never showed anything remotely scary apart from its set of vampire plastic teeth. But it was kinda creepy, even when he was talking calmly to Georgie. I mean, guys. Would you ever get close to anyone in the sewer dressed as a clown? In the book, Georgie is suspicious, but Pennywise shows him the boat. Any other kid would run the fuck away and probably get eaten anyway. In the novel, children cry when they see Pennywise passing by. Guys, one of the youngest victims in the book is a, 2-year-old child smashed into the toilet, his back broken. Pennywise doesn't mess around in a book. The losers are scared because they know what it can do. Pennywise makes jokes to fuck with them, but in a disturbing, non-friendly way. And I'm sorry, but I don't like the miniseries. I don't like how Tim Curry portrayed Pennywise, and I seriously think the ones complaining and hating on Skarsgård month before the movie is released are the same ones who bashed on Heath Ledger's Joker without having even seen the movie yet. Sure, instead of Ledger Joker, we may get a Leto Joker, but there's another story. I actually like Jared Leto. He's a good actor, and Suicide Squad was a missed opportunity, a directorial screenwriting production mess. So, back on track. We've seen the trailer. It was a long wait, but after months of the hype and frenzy, behind the scenes, pictures and videos on Instagram, the first official teaser trailer for the movie dropped on March 29th. It was highly anticipated since they shown a raw version of it at the panel in South by Southwest. So, after they tweaked it, some say we had to wait a couple more weeks so they could make it a green band trailer by tuning down the blood in the bathroom scene. We finally could see what the movie looks and sounds like. I was a little worried about that since cinematography is my favorite part of a movie. But I have to say it looks gorgeous, beautifully shot and framed. The color palette is great. I'm so happy about that. It's been shot in anamorphic, so it has this sort of vintage look, which I love. Plus it has flares, Okay, sorry. I'm super faithful because the technical department is quite amazing. DP Chung Han Chung is a master at his craft. He worked on the original Oldboy. Jason Ballantyne was the additional editor for Mad Max and the editor of The Great Gatsby, and Benjamin Wallfish did a great job as composer on A Cure for Wellness. I recall reading about the filmmakers at South by Southwest showing a clip taken from a movie in which the losers talked while exploring the sewers, then bam, popped up all beaten and bloody. That clip was recently recut and used to edit a new promotional sneak peek shown at the MTV Awards. And I have to say, after the teaser trailer, my hopes are higher than ever. The chemistry between the kids is palpable and real, the town is creepy and it has a sort of dense, unsettling quality to it. And more importantly, they kept Pennywise almost completely hidden. No voice, no gestures, just a super disturbing shot with him holding a kind of reversed pyramid of balloons, which left me speechless with unease. Especially because this sort of off-putting mood is the same experienced by the characters in the book while seeing it. I'm thinking about the balloons flying against the wind during Ben's encounter. Moving along. So, let's focus on what we can tell about the movie from the promotional stuff released so far. The answer is nothing. And look, I'm not saying the movie will be bad or that will be a masterpiece. I'm just saying you can tell that much from a teaser trailer and a clip. That's it, plain and simple. You don't see Pennywise acting, you don't see the losers interacting with each other that much. You just get a sense of the mood the movie's gonna pursue. And that mood, to me, is spot on. Kids scared shitless by a child murderer. This is what I see. And it's an amazingly shot movie. This is what we should be talking about. I see people saying the acting is bad, the house in Abel Street is too scary, Pennywise doesn't look creepy enough in the projected scene, but it's too creepy when approaching Georgie, and that the scene when Georgie hits his head is
too funny.
Let me be clear, this scene is perfect. Apart from giving him a reason to actually be outrun by a paper boat, it makes you nervously grin because you fucking know what's gonna happen. And if you don't, that moment of levity will soon be suddenly torn and destroyed by George's death. Let me remind you, this is not a TV show. It's a rated R movie. You're about to see a 6-year-old being murdered, pulled repeatedly down drain hole. It's not gonna be funny, and the mood is not ruined by that scene. If that's the scary part, will be even scarier, leaving the audience speechless. Another issue people seem to have after watching the teaser is that the movie will be full of cheap jump scares. And
Fukunaga's version was going to be more unconventional and definitely better.
First off, jump scares aren't necessarily bad. They're one of the keys of scary movies, and if well done, they're totally worth it. I think there are 3 types of jump scares. The good one, the cheap one, and the bad one. To me, a bad jump scare is the fake one. Let me explain. A character walks in a creepy mansion when suddenly someone grabs him. Loud noise. Oh my god, what's that? It's his friend. Making a prank. I hate those things. It doesn't make sense. They don't make the story progress in any way. The basis of horror, terror, thriller, etc. is suspense. So, if you scare the audience with a loud noise and a fake threat, you're a cheater. You surely can do that once in a while, but I've seen horror films literally filled with those, and I don't think it will be the case with it. Know why? Because it's a story with real threats and real horror. Bad directors fill their bad movies with bad jump scares because the story they have on their hands is often weightless, useless, poor. So instead of a movie, you'll get a haunted house tour, you know? If you scare the audience with a sudden threat or scary moment without any advice, you'll make people jump on their seats. And for a reason, sure, but you'll still be in the haunted house territory. It's easy to scare people if you catch them off guard. This is a cheap jump scare. It's the second kind of jump scare. It's not bad, but it's not that clever. It's a trick that gets old after a while if it's overused, and people will eventually get tired of it. But if you hit the audience with a sudden jump scare after an almost unbearable tension-filled scene, you'll have created a good scary moment, because suspense will enrich the scene and make the audience shiver in anticipation, so the scary moment will be really worth it. So yeah, it's better not to rely on jump scares too much, but if you use them cleverly, you'll create some good memorable scenes. To me, one of these good jump scares is the one in the movie Signs, you know? The Brazilian video sequence. That shit is gold. Or the diner scene in Mulholland Drive. So here's my 2 cents. You cannot possibly know what a horror movie is gonna be like judging it from the trailer, because now every horror gets marketed like that, with a fast-paced jump cut style out trailer to impress people and get them to buy a ticket for that movie. So for now, let's just be grateful they managed to create a long, creepy teaser without giving away the best scenes. Now, on to the other issue. The Fukunaga script. So, okay, he said the studio wanted to make a more conventional movie and kept rejecting his original ideas, and people freaked out. Oh, they're gonna ruin the movie now. Have you read the early Fukunaga script? I have. Sure, it wasn't bad, not bad at all, and that was an early draft, but after True Detective, I was kind of disappointed, especially because the character of Pennywise was kind of dumb. It was scary, of course, and not funny at all, but it seemed to me he didn't have that much to say. But I read statements about the latest draft he made with Palmer, and let me just say that if you're a die-hard fan of the book, you may be happy with the rewritten movie we're gonna have this September. So okay, I didn't read statements, I managed to read the freaking full screenplay revision everyone's talking about, and that shit was lit. I mean, Fukunaga is completely bonkers, and a lot of stuff was way different from the book, but compared to the early draft he made, that was actually amazing. And changes aside, I actually loved how he and Palmer added depth to Pennywise, making it look less like a two-dimensional jester popping up every now and then, and more like an actual child molester. Shit was creepy as hell and definitely on point. So why am I saying the Muschietti version will probably be better? Because apparently Fukunaga kept changing the story more, adding disturbing and sexual stuff in it. A lot of people might not like stuff that wasn't even in a revision I read, so it's easy to imagine a studio not wishing to accept those kind of changes. The fact is, Muschietti and his sister Barbara, who's the co-producer, actually fought a lot to keep some good parts of that late screenplay Fukunaga made, maintaining the 80s setting for the kids, changing back the names of the main characters to their original ones, and inserting some iconic scenes from the book, like the leper chasing Eddie, the rock fight, and so on. The only thing they couldn't make the studio put in the movie was the smoke hole scene, because the budget was too small. Also, I don't know how they will shoot the ending. I read 3 different scripts and the showdown kept changing. The one I kind of liked reading more was the early draft Fukunaga wrote, but I seriously don't know what the reworked screenplay will be like now, and I won't discuss the previous draft anymore to avoid spoilers. But I wish to say one thing. I also read the first script, the Kashiganich one, before Fukunaga was involved, and it had the 2 timelines, the kids one and the adults one, all crammed in one 2-hour movie, and it felt rushed. I mean, I'm so glad they choose to split the story in 2 separate movies, and it surely won't be like in the miniseries. Those were 2 90-minute TV movies, and they feature both the kids and the adults. This will probably be 2 hours and a half each, and they will focus on each one of the timelines, so I'm very happy about it. The only thing in the the only thing in the Kashiganich script I kinda liked was the ending, because it was a sort of time-traveling mindfuck. Okay, no spoilers, but there only were 5 losers, so no, you just can cut Mike and Stan, you just don't. But then again, Fukunaga cut Stan, so yeah, thank God for the Muschietti siblings anyway. And something else came to my mind. As you know, production for part 1 ended on September 2016. There were rumors of some more filming happening last March. First, the rumors said they were starting production for part 2, but the producers confirmed the studio wanted to wait and see how part 1 will do at the box office first. And I don't believe it's been confirmed or not, but someone stated those were actually reshoots for part 1. Nothing wrong with pickups. Happens all the time in the movie industry. They have screenings, things work, things don't. They reshoot scenes in a better way or add new ones, that's all. But Muschietti actually said that part 2 will be, and I quote, about remembering things that the losers have forgot. And he added that there are a few hints in part 1 that, quote, make you think about what will happen 30 years later when Pennywise comes again. So what if those were actually reshoots, but they're not scenes we'll see in part 1? What if they shot more scenes with the kids to use as flashbacks in part 2? I mean, real flashbacks, filling some gaps in the adult's memory. I mean, if you see all that happens to the kids in part 1, part 2 will be very boring, since getting back in touch with those memories is such an important part of the plot. As Muschietti said, that was the main problem I had with part 2 of the miniseries. All those, oh now I remember moments were pretty dumb, because we already saw them in part 1. While in the book, the 2 timelines unveil themselves at the same time. But even in the miniseries, there were some parts we didn't see in part 1, like the encounter Stan had. So it will be really cool for the upcoming part 1 to sort of skip some scenes and leave us puzzled until part 2 comes out and those memories are back. After all, if part 2 will be greenlit by the studio, it will be released at least 2 years from now, and the kids actors will be way too old to shoot additional scenes then, so this is what I thought would be cool. Another thing I'm curious about is the upcoming Castle Rock miniseries, by J.J. Abrams. Didn't like 11/22/63 that much since they skipped the dairy part, but I'm still faithful this could be a fun ride. In the teaser, which I suggest you go see if you haven't, Pennywise is mentioned along with some of the losers, so I don't know what they're gonna do and how or if it will connect to the upcoming It movie, unless those additional scenes they shot. Okay, I'll stop. I know, this video will probably make no sense at all, since I didn't want to reveal too much of the rumors on this upcoming part 1 will talk too much about the screenplays I happen to read. After all, searching for updates and rumors is part of the fun, so I'll leave you guys at it if you're interested. Thing is, it looks like we finally could have the It adaptation we and the novel itself deserved. It may be different from the book or from what we imagined, but it will definitely be good. I'm feeling it. Now we just have to wait until September. I will be waiting for the next update, picture, rumors, trailer, spot clip, whatever. I'm hyped as fuck. So if you like this, you can subscribe for more stuff and share this video to your friends, family, and especially your father. But only if he shat you from his asshole. Wink. Riot name out. Hello and goodbye. Go Andy.